The concept of a BRICS currency has been discussed within the bloc for several years. However, as the alliance expands and economic pressures intensify, talk of a common BRICS currency has gained new momentum. Recently, at the BRICS summit in Kazan, multiple images were released by the official BRICS website showing a symbolic currency note being presented to the president of Russia in his role as the current BRICS chair. This imagery has fueled speculation about the future of a potential unified currency, whether in the form of a new BRICS-specific note, the yuan as a common currency, or another medium designed to reduce reliance on the US dollar as a global reserve currency. The US dollar's role as the dominant reserve currency has deep roots in post-World War II economic restructuring, particularly due to the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944. This pivotal event not only established the dollar as a central currency, but also created two institutions, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank, to promote stability in exchange rates and financial recovery. Key economists John Maynard Keynes and Harry Dexter White designed the system with complementary yet differing visions. Keynes pushed for a new international currency, the bankor, while White proposed a dollar-centric system with gold convertibility. Ultimately, the latter became the foundation of the Bretton Woods system, pegging global currencies to the dollar, which was fixed at $35 per ounce of gold. The dollar gained further strength in the 1950s as international trade surged, and US economic stability attracted reserve currency investment. By 1958, the Bretton Woods system was fully operational, enabling countries to settle international transactions in dollars. Yet the system faced challenges. By the 1960s, US deficits and gold outflows strained its gold reserves, and rising inflation put additional pressure on the dollar. In response, President Nixon in 1971 ended the dollar's gold convertibility, transforming the dollar into a floating fiat currency. Despite these shifts, the dollar's centrality remained unchallenged due to global reliance on it for trade and stability. However, recent geopolitical shifts and economic strategies have led the BRICS nations to explore creating a currency that could enhance trade efficiency and reduce reliance on the dollar, especially in the face of economic sanctions and trade imbalances that disproportionately affect some member states, such as Russia and China. In recent years, BRICS economies have surpassed the G7 in terms of GDP, based on purchasing power parity now representing over 31% of global GDP, a significant influence on the world economy. These countries also constitute around 16% of global trade and encompass over 40% of the world's population. This economic clout has emboldened BRICS to take steps toward de-dollarization. For instance, recent agreements between China and Brazil have enabled direct trade in local currencies, removing the dollar as an intermediary. This change reduces transaction costs and currency exchange risks. The potential advantages of a BRICS currency include simplified cross-border transactions within the bloc and an increase in economic self-sufficiency. This aligns with the broader trend of de-dollarization. This move is underscored by steps already taken by BRICS countries to trade in their local currencies, with agreements in place for bilateral trade between China and Russia, Brazil and China, and India and Russia. Let's take a quick pause. Could you do us a favor? If you enjoy our content, please hit the like button. To help even more, leave your thoughts and feedback in the comments. Your engagement helps us grow. Thank you. You know, a BRICS currency could take shape either as a single currency or perhaps as a digital currency unit tied to the economic contributions of each member nation. It might resemble the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights, or SDR, as a weighted currency basket. The idea of anchoring this currency to gold or other assets is still under debate. Some advocate for gold backing to provide stability, while others suggest that a currency without such ties could maintain flexibility. BRICS nations aim to increase economic independence by avoiding dollar-centric global financial institutions, which they view as favoring Western interests. Heavy reliance on the dollar for international trade can make these economies vulnerable to US policy changes and sanctions, as seen with Russia's exclusion from SWIFT and other sanctions related to the Ukraine conflict. By promoting trade in local currencies or creating a BRICS currency, these countries hope to enhance their economic autonomy. Cross-border trade within BRICS would be more streamlined if conducted in local or a shared BRICS currency, reducing costs and risks associated with currency exchange fluctuations. A move away from the dollar could simplify transactions, particularly as intra-BRICS trade continues to grow. In recent years, bilateral trade agreements between BRICS countries like China, Russia, and India-Russia in local currencies have demonstrated the benefits of dollar-independent transactions. Globally, the dollar's dominance can lead to US influence over financial markets and economic policies worldwide. Reducing dependence on the US dollar allows BRICS to foster a multipolar financial system where economic power is more equitably distributed. This would also give emerging economies a larger voice in global financial decisions, something the BRICS countries argue is overdue in a multipolar world. Rising tensions between the US and certain BRICS members, particularly Russia and China, have motivated these countries to seek alternatives. This diversification is seen as a hedge against potential future economic sanctions and trade restrictions by the US and its allies. The broader BRICS alliance, with expanding interest from countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, can further reduce reliance on Western-controlled financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. As emerging economies, BRICS nations argue that relying on the dollar exposes them to instability from US domestic economic policies, such as fluctuations caused by Federal Reserve decisions. When the US increases interest rates, for example, BRICS nations often see higher debt servicing costs and inflationary pressure. Reducing dollar reliance could thus bring more stability to their own financial markets. Let's go over everything we know about the BRICS banknote so far. The following information is mainly taken from Sputnik, which is a Russian state-owned news agency and radio broadcast service. In the Russian town of Kirak, Vladimir region, 1,000 commemorative notes with a face value of 100 BRICS were produced ahead of the 2023 BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. During a recent summit in Kazan, Russia, President Vladimir Putin received one of these symbolic banknotes. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov referred to it as quasi-money, underscoring that it represents the collaborative spirit among BRICS nations. The front side of the note highlights national symbols and flags of the 5 founding BRICS countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. On the reverse side, it features the flags and names of additional nations associated with BRICS: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, along with other potential allies. Each illustration on the note was meticulously hand-drawn. The initiative for the banknote came from Yevhen Fyodorov, the founder and owner of Kirat Typography JSC, who designed it as a gift to convey his support for the goals of BRICS, such as international cooperation and a multi-global framework. Fyodorov explained that the arrangement of the flags in a circular pattern on the front symbolizes the idea of equality among BRICS members. He described the note as both a concept model and a symbol of an emerging multipolar world, noting that meaningful changes often begin with symbolic gestures. Additionally, he assured that the BRICS note includes sophisticated anti-counterfeiting features, much like standard Russian banknotes. Fyodorov also praised the designer Yuri Yakov, known for his involvement in creating currency for over 10 nations. Yakov previously crafted portraits for Iraq's currency under Saddam Hussein and for Vietnam's former leader Ho Chi Minh on the Vietnamese dong. President Putin, however, clarified that while the idea of a shared BRICS currency has been discussed, there are no immediate plans for such a development. Highlighting the need for a cautious approach, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching this video. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please stay tuned for more.